Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week and another episode of Unfiltered Waters. And dare I say something that I rarely say and I don't take lightly, but this conversation with this individual was absolutely top three conversations for me, and I will certainly tell you why. But before I do that, let me introduce this legend. Today on the pod, we have four-time Olympian, eight-time Olympic medalist, four of them being gold, 12-time world championship medalist, and she has held 7 world records in her illustrious career. We have the incredible Cate Campbell on the pod today. And oh my gosh, every time I talk to one of the Aussies, their zest for life and just the way that they approach things is so admirable. And I feel like Americans could take a page from their book. And that leads me to how we start off the episode, which is addressing all of the, I guess, drama that went on last year when she talked about the Americans and our cowbells at World Championships the year out from Paris Olympics, and it caught fire. I mean, I still see people doing the cowbell thing, and I feel like the way that the Australians' sense of humor kind of operates is very similar to how American football operates in terms of how they make fun of each other and rib each other. And really, I'll let Cate talk about it on the podcast, but she just talks about how, the more that you rib on someone or tease someone, the more that you have respect and admiration for them. And so that's kind of how I always felt, but I feel like it caught, hands of the media and it went crazy. But that was just fun to kind of talk through that because I've been wanting to do that for about a year. And then just hearing, obviously we're in this time of transition and getting a permanent CEO, although when this episode airs maybe we will have a permanent CEO, but I did not know that Cate had been a part of that process and that committee when the Australians were going through a very similar kind of era with their leadership in Australian swimming. So it was really, really cool to hear her nerd out and educate around how they approach that. So just another perspective I think is always helpful. And then hearing about how she got engaged recently, what she's excited about, some of how she's felt about her career and how she reconciled having it end on not this fairy tale note. And I just felt like Cate is just very real, authentic, as so many of our guests are, but the way that she articulated her story just really hit close to my heart. And I wish I had had more time with her. The interview actually cuts off because her internet fails and then we can't get back on. And then she was going to a meeting. So you'll see a little bit of an abrupt ending to the episode. But I cannot thank Cate enough for taking the time in the middle of, training camp and working with the youth athletes. So I am confident that you all will glean so many nuggets from this conversation. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Cate Campbell.
So as you guys can imagine, being 4 months postpartum, the one thing I have been focused on so much the last 4 months is getting as much quality sleep as I can possibly get. I am so thankful to Dream Recovery for all of their amazing products that have made that happen. The products I've been relying on the most have been the Performance Silk Sleep Mask, which my 20 to 30 minute power naps during the day, for anyone that knows me, are crucial. Having that sleep mask to block out all the light so I can quickly lie down while the girls are napping, recharge my battery, and wake up refreshed has been amazing. And then using the incredible blue light blocking glasses either during the day or at night right before bed makes it so easy to fall asleep. There are so many more products, and I've been using all of them religiously during this postpartum period. And you guys can use code UNFILTERED30 for 30% off your entire order. What is better than prioritizing your sleep? Go and do it right now.
Cate Campbell, welcome to Unfiltered Waters.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I am so excited. I feel like I was telling you earlier, I have wanted to speak with you literally since last year. And I have to give our bestie, Elizabeth Beisel, massive shout out for connecting us because you were essentially doing her role on the Australian side at World Championships in Singapore. So how was that?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And just absolute shout out to Faisal. She is just human sunshine. It is
She
just
is.
so delightful. And yeah, we had a great time over there. And I'm so glad that she could connect to you because I'm not big, bad, mean, or scary.
Oh my gosh. Do we want to just start there and clear the
Yeah.
air? Because I think in Missy and I said it a bunch on the podcast of just I've known Australian. So Stephanie Rice, we have a tattoo together. So I have known Australian sense of humor since I was 17 years old. And I will just say I felt like social media is really good at taking things out of context. And so my stance on it was like, I mean, we're all friends. I mean, we're friends outside the pool. I would get annoyed if someone was ringing a bell if they were beating me and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it was kind of like like a fun rivalry comment.
Yeah, so I made a bunch of comments like well and truly over a year ago, and
Yes.
it was all completely in jest. The way that Australians show affection is you kind of pay each other out, and the more you
Yes.
pay each other out, the more you like and respect the other person.
Correct.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. And look, we make fun of ourselves as much as we make fun of other people. Our national anthem has the word girt in it, which is just like the
Wait.
least sexy word ever. So like I'm quite happy to poke fun at anyone's national anthem, and like we do weird things, like our national catch cry is like Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
Like not very sophisticated here. And I really just truly believe that the Australian and US rivalry, it's strong and it's fierce. It's pushed the sport forward. We can be respectful, but we can have fun and banter with each other as well. And I think that that's what I was trying to communicate in that grab, which was then taken out of context and then put on TikTok and then blew up. And let me tell you, the 4th of July is not a nice place to be on my social media because I'm still being trolled about it.
No, you're not.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. And it's funny is I feel like I understand it even more so because I am married to a American football player where that is literally their love language is making fun of each other. That means you are so loved if he's just giving you crap left and right. So that is what it is.
Yeah. The more crap, the more love and the more respect. And so
Yes.
guys, massive love, massive respect. And I'm so glad that we can come on here and clear the air because I have nothing but love and respect for you all. And yeah, it's been wonderful racing you over the years. You guys
Yeah.
have pushed me to be a better athlete. I hope that we in turn have pushed you guys to be better athletes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
overall, we've made the sport better. Like it's so
100%.
good. I feel like some of those races over at Worlds, you were just on the edge of your seat. You were screaming and cheering and you got around it. You got amongst it and it added a little bit of pizzazz. Swimming sometimes lacks a bit of pizzazz.
Yes, 1,000%. And I so agree. I feel like that's just what I was brought up on. My first Olympics really watching was 2000 in Sydney. So, I mean, my first recollection is just those intense races that just got people standing and clapping and the adrenaline and all of that good stuff. So yes, thank you for clearing the air. This has always been my stance. So I think I also really respect you because we need more people to have strong voices and just, speak out and cause some controversy. You know what I mean? That's what people want. And all other sports have that. And sometimes swimming just doesn't. And I'm not saying that I was just the strong voice when I swam. I was a little timid. But I just think that what you're doing and the example that you're setting now being back in the sport so quickly after retiring, and I want to talk about that as well, but how was it being at World Championships and interviewing the athletes and kind of being on the other side?
Firstly, it's wonderful to still be involved in the sport. It's been such a big part of my life for so long. So to have a clean break and to be pushed completely out of it, I think would have been really, really difficult. And so to be able to still be there, to still be on pool deck, like when I walked out on pool deck, my heart still started going. And like, I
Yeah.
wanted to, whenever I'd walk out behind the blocks, I'd like shake my arms and I wanted to like start doing that. It was like my body remembered what it was like to be an athlete. And then my brain caught up and was like, no, honey, girl, calm down. You don't need to get in that pool. It's fine. And I think that my whole goal when it comes to interviewing athletes is like, how do we share them with the Australian audience? How do we make
Yes.
Australia fall in love with our swimmers, with our athletes? Because they are so incredible. They honestly are. The dedication, the determination, the focus, the resilience, but then just like the fun, quirky personalities. Like, I want people to get to know the people behind the athlete. And so trying
Yes.
to bring a little bit of that and bring some humanity and let people know if an athlete's had struggles or if they've had setbacks, like why this means so much, or what is it like to be on your first team. And so it's just, for me, it's a huge privilege, and it was a privilege to watch them. A little part of me did miss being out there, but only when I was swimming really well. Like, you only miss competing when you
Yeah.
remember your good races. You don't miss competing when you remember the bad races. And there's
Yeah.
no way I would have been able to go out and compete with them. So it was the next best thing, shoving a microphone in their face.
Well, no, and I think that's Beisel's superpower, that's your superpower, is the athletes are gonna respond. Even our superpower here at Unfiltered, it's like the athletes know that you're coming from a place of, "I get it deep in my heart," and so you're willing to give them that humanity and that grace, even if maybe it is a tough race or maybe it's a, a tougher question, they're just gonna respond because they just feel safe talking to you, right?
For sure. I'm not there for a gotcha. I am there because I want everyone to know what you're going through. Like the
Yeah.
good, the bad, the ugly. And ultimately that's why we watch sport. It's the truest expression of the human condition, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the
A
highs, the lows,
1,000%.
the everything in between. And so take the audience on that journey with you, and let me be the vehicle for you. I'm not there for a gotcha question. I'm not there to put you down.
Yep.
But we want to hear from you, and we want to hear how you're feeling. We want to know what's going on inside your head. We want to know what's going on inside your heart as well. I think that that's
Yeah.
a really important point as well. So yeah, it's such a treat. It's such a privilege. And yeah, it was some insanely good racing. Like,
Yes. Oh, every morning I'm not an early morning person, so I was setting my alarm at 6 a.m. Central Time and getting up and watching. And, the other piece that I kept thinking about watching you is you're not that far removed from retiring. And you just mentioned, I can't imagine just going cold turkey, which is exactly what I did. I went cold turkey really because my career, I had a blood clot in my lung and ended not on my own free will. And I read a lot. I saw the epic picture of you at the trials last year in the 50 free final with all these women around you. I mean, it is the most, we'll post it. It is the most epic picture. And I imagine probably a bittersweet ending to your career. But can you talk through that moment, but then coming back so quickly after a moment that maybe isn't and I'm assuming things here, but maybe isn't your favorite?
No, and it wasn't. And I think that two things can be true at once, in that
Yeah.
it can be devastating and heartbreaking, but it can also be beautiful
Yeah.
at the same time. And I feel like that's what that moment was for me. And to be honest, I knew before I walked out behind the blocks
Yeah.
that this was going to be my last race. You know, I've been an athlete long enough. I know myself well enough. I know the state that my body was in. I know the preparation that I had managed to cobble together, and it wasn't enough. But it was
Mhm.
still important for me to show up and go and do that one last time. You know, I could have withdrawn. I had COVID a couple of weeks out. I had shoulder injuries. It was just, I was just up against it. You know, I've had shoulder surgery since then. So I could have withdrawn and I could have just said, can't do it. But I chose to go and to have that moment anyway.
Yeah.
And it was totally unexpected. And I just want to give a shout out to the girls in that race, because there were two of them who qualified for individual spots at an Olympic Games in that race.
Yeah.
And they put aside their moment of joy. So Shayna Jack and Meg Harris, like massive shout outs to you. and they came over and congratulated me. And it gives me goosebumps just
Same.
thinking about it, because it was such a beautiful moment. It was obviously my heartbreak, but to be recognized by some of those girls who I've seen since they were young girls, come through, and to do it in my home pool, Brisbane is where I had my first competition, to do it in front of my friends and my family, and for that to be my last moment and my last race. It wasn't quite the fairy tale I was after, but it's almost as if the silver lining got so close to it.
Seriously, I mean, all I saw when I looked at that picture was, wow, what a legacy. I mean, for two individuals, like you said, to make an Olympic team and be like, nope, that's secondary. Let me swim over to this legend who like you said, they've looked up to you probably since they can remember the Olympics. And so to have that, I mean, just says so much about who you are as a person, a role model. When you think back to your role models, because the Aussie sprinters has always been, I mean, Libby Trickett and Jody Henry and all those girls that I remember from 2004. What was your first recollection of the Aussie sprinters? And when were you like, oh, I'm going to be one?
Yeah, so I remember being obsessed with the Aussie sprinters. So, Libby Trickett, Jody Henry. There was Alice Mills as well, who was always in that relay for a long time. They competed at the Commonwealth Games. Now, I know that Americans are not in the Commonwealth, so, you guys have Pampaks and we compete against you as well, but we have the Commonwealth Games and they were in Melbourne. And I can remember writing a fan note to Alice Mills, because her birthday is 2 days later than mine. She's the 22nd of May and I'm the 20th of May. And I remember being obsessed with that. And then as I started to improve and go through the ranks, you then start to compete against these people who you've been looking up to. And I can so clearly remember it was at a local competition, like a Brisbane local competition. And I was swimming and Libby Trickett was also swimming in the same race, in the 50 meters freestyle. And she came up and was like, hey, Cate, great job. And I was like,
You're like, oh my God.
oh my gosh, Libby Trickett knows my name. She came up to me. She spoke to me like she knows who I am. What's going on? It was so wild. And I think that moment has really stuck with me. So when I see younger athletes, I'm like, I remember how much that meant to me. And Libby probably doesn't even remember it. Probably was not something on her radar at all. But it was just like, oh, great job, as you would say to any of your competitors. So I don't think that it was like, oh, I'm going out of my way to help out this person. It was just common decency.
Yeah.
And so when I see a younger athlete, I make sure that I do that. I make sure that I try and know something about them, because for them to be able to have that moment of like, oh my gosh, like Cate Campbell knows who I am, or she knows where I train, or something else. It's like a really beautiful gift to be able to give to the next generation.
Yes. Oh, I so agree. Everyone remembers that first moment where you're acknowledged by an Olympian, and I feel like it either scares you to your core and you run away, or you're like, oh my gosh, okay, now it almost makes you realize that they're just humans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think until you get there, you put the Olympian up on a pedestal or the role model, and you're like, I could never. And it just shatters all of that. And they're like, oh, they're just like a normal human being. They just work hard and they can do it. And I truly think it is a gift that I think every generation should carry that on.
Oh, for sure. And it's been a big part of what we have tried to do on the Australian swim team, is create this legacy, create this environment where everyone feels welcome, where we feel seen and valued and heard. And we have found that actually leads to a better performance. Like, when you're only focusing on people's performance and you forget that the people have to go and perform, when you're valuing performance over the people, performance doesn't happen. But when you value your people, they feel safe and secure and like they belong. And so they're going to go out and perform really well. So
exactly.
Yeah, it was lessons that I've just learned so much through my swimming career. And it's really beautiful to see the team now and the culture that they have in that team.
Yeah, I feel like that's something from the outside looking in. The Australian culture has always seemed just top notch. And I don't know how much you've paid attention to what's been going on with our not our culture, but just our governing body and, having interim CEOs and not a CEO and all of that. How much is that highlighted or do you pay attention to that on the Australian side? Because correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you guys have it down. Have you been following all that? Or
Look,
is it okay,
look,
you have
I'm
based on
always
your
here
face.
for a little bit of drama, so I'm always here for some tea.
Yeah, you're
But
like
yes,
popcorning it over there from across
yeah,
the globe.
yeah.
Yeah.
But not in a good way. Actually, in like quite a sad
Yeah,
way.
it is. It's really sad.
In that we've been there. 2012, worst
Okay.
performing Olympic Games. Australian swim team won 1 gold medal. It was our worst performing team in like 40 years. And from that, we had a really big reckoning. And we have rebuilt the organization and the culture and what it means to be part of the swim team. And I have seen what poor governance and poor culture looks like. And I think that often athletes become a victim of it in that
Right.
it starts from the top down. So, but the blame will be put on the athletes because they are the public face of the organization and the sport.
Yes.
And so since leaving sport and since retiring, I'm actively looking for ways that I can get into governance so that I can influence things from the top down, because that makes such an incredible difference. And we saw that within the Australian swim team. And to be clear, it's not when I'm saying having good governance and good culture starts from the top down. It's not someone at the top sitting up there telling you exactly what to do and how to be. It's
Right.
someone who sits up there who empowers the people around them and underneath them to become leaders in their own right, to grow and mold themselves into how they feel they need to be to perform at their best. It's not about someone who's never been in an Olympic final before, who's never faced the pressures of competing on the world stage, standing down and pointing at you and telling you how you need to behave and what you need to do. It's about them going, hey, we need to empower these athletes. How do we do that? What structures do we need to put in place to allow them to feel safe, secure, comfortable? And when you do that, and when people can take ownership of that team, that culture, that performance, the values, what do we want to stand for? How do we want to show up? Then we see performance follow. And then we see a really thriving organization. And I've watched that transformation happen, and it happens, quite slowly, and it happens over time. But if you do
Yeah.
it right, like Australian swimming is in the best shape it's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
We like to talk about the golden era in Australia, and we like to harken back to, your Ian Thorpes and your Grant Hackett's and your Susie O'Neills or even your Steph Rices. But the athletes that we have today, competing today, are our greatest ever Olympians. Emma McKeon is our greatest ever Olympian.
Yeah.
She beats out Ian Thorpe. Kaylee McEwen is our greatest ever individual Olympic athlete across any sport. Australia had their most successful ever Olympic swim team performance in Tokyo. So the golden era is now, and that's not an accident. That's been by design. And it's happened slowly over time, but it took us reaching rock bottom to be able to say, hey, we need to change things up. And we've really done it. And it's been a process. And, I've been very, very lucky to have been a part of it. And it's why I'm super passionate about good governance now and what that looks like, because all parts of the organization have to be singing the same song. You have to be working it together. It's not the swimmers and the coaches and the high performance staff and the commercial staff. It's like, no. You need to be one unit. And how do you do that? And then how do you empower people to take ownership of their part in that?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, 1,000% to all of that. I mean, it's such an interesting thing that you talk about because, right, from our perspective, I bet there aren't a lot of people that even realize that. It's like, oh, now they're crushing it. But it's one of those things, that graphic where it's the carrot underneath and it's all down here and you just see a little. And I feel like that's the lesson there is you guys have gone through it, but you battled and made it to the other side. I mean, at that point, you were what? You weren't even 21,
Yeah,
22?
I think I joined the leadership group when I was 21. So
Really?
I was really, really young. But, by that point, I'd been to 2 Olympics. I started
Yes.
quite young. So
Yes.
it wasn't my first time, but I was really passionate about it. Like I know for myself how much of a difference having a good environment makes for my own
Yeah.
performance, either
Yeah.
in training or in competition. And so even though swimming is an individual sport, if you can get the environment and the culture right, people are going to perform better, number one. But if they don't, because for whatever reason you have a poor performance, whether that's your own doing or bad luck, if you have a good experience, you're more likely to come back. And we want repeat people to come back and do it all again. And so, yeah, I cottoned onto it really early, and it's something that I'm super passionate about. I love it. There's, I could talk your ear off about it, and there's a bunch of science that I just absolutely love, and I can nerd out on,
I
but I
love that.
won't.
I knew that though before this conversation. I told Missy, I'm like, I feel like Kate and I are just going to nerd out about swim times and governance and all the but it is exciting and important stuff because like you said, one doesn't happen without the other. And so it has to be a priority. It has to be talked about. And I think now more than ever, athletes are talking about it because it's kind of getting put on their lap, especially in the US. But I think that's awesome that you, as a currently competing athlete, played a huge part in that. Which I mean, at such a young age, it must have been unusual. Were there other people in your era doing that as well, or were you an outlier?
Yeah, we joined an athlete leadership group, and there were some older athletes, and then I was probably sat on the younger end of that spectrum. But we were empowered as well, and I think that that's really important. Like we weren't just sort of for a little while, we were kind of fumbling around in the dark. But when we were given some training and some structure, when we started to work in with management, when we started to engage with all arms of Swimming Australia, that's when real impactful change has happened. And we're starting to see it become lasting legacy as well. So it's one thing to make
Amazing.
change and to have a look and be like, okay, that's great. But then you think, oh, it's not quite right. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep changing. We, in the past, 8 years or so, maybe 6 years, have really nailed down like who we are, what we stand for, and how we want to show up. And that has been owned by every level of Swimming Australia and all of the athletes because everyone was consulted as part of it, right? You have to feel seen and heard to engage. And ultimately, I believe the more responsibility you give people, the more responsibility they take. And gone are the days when athletes were just like, oh, get in the pool and swim. We want to have a say. We want to sit at the table. Or at least some of us do. Some of us just want to go swim. That's fine. All good.
Yeah.
You go do that. Like, you don't have to worry about it. But some of us do want to have a say and we do want to have a voice. Bring us in. We're your biggest assets. That's what I think that these sporting organizations forget. Like, your athletes are your assets.
Yes.
And you need to protect them. You need to value them. And just, throwing a bunch of funding at them, it's not good enough. That's not the way to produce high-performing teams.
We are so proud to be partnering with Endless Pools, your in-home or in-backyard personal lap pool. Their exclusive HydroDrive technology powers one of the most advanced swim-in-place currents that I have ever experienced. So whether you're looking for next-level swim training, recovery, low-impact fitness, maybe you're a runner, and of course, family fun, Endless Pools has you covered. The range of versatile modular and swim spa models allows so that it fits in any space, any environment, and works with any range of ability. So we are very excited to give you a special discount. So go to www.endlesspools.com/unfiltered for $1,000 off your purchase. The timing is right now. We're heading into beautiful weather. So go get that pool and have an awesome, awesome summer.
As an Olympic swimmer, there were days when I'd swim for hours, pushing my body to its absolute limit. But what I had to learn was how much mental exhaustion played into my overall performance. That's something most people don't talk about, the mental toll that comes with high performance. After physical activity, the brain's energy stores become depleted, leading to cognitive fatigue. IM8 combines 92 premium ingredients, including essential vitamins, minerals, and bioactive compounds, all at clinical doses to support your overall health and performance. Data from a 12-week clinical study on real users found that 95% of participants reported improved overall well-being. You do not have to be an elite athlete to feel the benefits, even though it is NSF certified. All of my friends and family that I have shared this with have agreed that not only is it delicious, but they felt a significant difference in their energy levels. So don't wait in giving IM8 a try. You can use code UNFILTERED for 10% off your first order.
This might be an impossible answer or question to answer, but what do you feel like the biggest aspect you guys changed that made the biggest splash?
Ooh, okay. So we changed the way that we valued each other and ourselves. So on my first team, so Beijing 2008,
Whoop, whoop.
I know, such a baby.
Water cube.
Yeah. Beijing 2008, the head coach stood up and said, right, guys, if it's not gold, it's not good enough. Now, I had just turned 16 at those games, and I returned home with 2 bronze medals and felt that I wasn't good enough. So that is what a culture looks like when you value performance over people. So the biggest thing that we did is we flipped that on its head. It's people first, performance second. Because not every single person who goes to an Olympic Games is going to be capable of winning an Olympic gold medal. That's just cold, hard facts.
Yep.
But every single person is capable of positively contributing to your team. And so if we are valuing that, then we are getting the best out of people, whether that's a bronze medal, whether that's a personal best, whether that's a final, whether that's a gold medal, or whether it was a bad day at the office for you, but you showed up for your teammate and you were a great roomie and you looked after someone. You saw someone after a bad swim and you reached out to them. And that is how we value people. And once you do that, the performance comes. We talk a lot in sport about valuing the process over outcome. Focus on your process, focus on your process. In teams and in organizations, your people are your process. If you are not focusing on them, if you are not valuing them, you're not doing the thing that you're telling your athletes to do.
Yeah.
So that was, the biggest shift that we made. And, we put a bunch of structures and rituals and values and behaviors and all of that stuff around it. But your overarching motto and ethos is people first, performance second. And by doing that, we've got our performances and we've kept hold of our people.
Yeah, it's huge. And I mean, it's obviously that now the results are showing. Is that I don't know if we even said, but you're currently in Slovakia for a World Junior trip, being one of the mentors. Is that like when you're going into your team meeting in T-minus 30 minutes, are you saying those words or what is your narrative to these younger athletes?
Yeah, so we've created a really long legacy now and a really strong legacy. So it's about bringing those athletes into and getting them buying into our values and behaviors and what that looks like as early as possible. So that by the time, hopefully, when these athletes graduate into our senior teams and get to go to a World Championships or an Olympic Games, they know what we're about. They know what we stand for. They know how we show up. They know how we back each other. They know how we show excellence and courage and all of those things. And they know the behaviors attached to those values. And so I'm getting to hang out with a bunch of 15 to 18-year-olds and it's so, so much fun. They just remind me of how much I loved swimming when I was younger. Like when you get older, it becomes a bit more of a grind and you've got a few more injuries, like the stakes get higher, but the pure love and the passion that I see in these kids is it's infectious, it's delightful, and it's just a joy to be around them. So my job is to help continue that legacy that we helped build, to share knowledge, to share experiences, to sit with them, to chat with them. They're trying to get me to do a TikTok dance.
Do
I'll,
it.
I'll let you know if they convince me.
It's so funny because I talked to Claire Weinstein yesterday, and she's big on TikTok, and we have our Golden Goggles, like our award show next month. And I was like, okay, if I send you a TikTok dance, will you think, am I cool enough to be in the TikTok with you? And she said yes. So I think you should do the same.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Look, I probably should. It's just, I just don't understand it. These youngsters, I feel so old now.
I know. Well, you look crazy. I was about to say, some of these athletes, my first games was 2004. These athletes, all of them, were born after. And so I feel like some of them just don't know the legacy, because how could they? They weren't born yet, which makes you just feel really rotten sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most of these athletes were either one or not born when I went to my first Olympics in 2008. The majority of the oldest people on the team were born in 2007. But to be honest, that's also one of the reasons why I'm here. It's like, let's respect the legacy of the sport. Let's respect the people who have gone before them. Two of our coaches on this team are Olympians and Australian Dolphins in their own right. So we all got up and we all presented to the team and shared stories. And that is also really powerful because, yes, you have your superstars of your team. And I'm not saying that I'm a superstar, but I was one of the more high-profile athletes.
I would say you can say that. I'm going to say that for you.
Thanks, Katie. I was one of the more high-profile athletes, but it's also about acknowledging the athletes who maybe didn't win a medal, but who competed at Olympic Games, getting to hear their stories. And so we make a really big effort to value and respect the legacy of our sport and the history and the people who have gone before that. And yeah, that's part of the role that I'm playing here. But then also, for our coaches, they're Olympians in their own right as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, I feel like that is, you mentioned it earlier, the hardest part about our sport when you're in it for so long, right? Four times to the games for you, which is just, especially as a sprinter, to me is such an incredible feat. And then I saw this stat of just how many times you've been 52-0, 52-1. And that's a time right now that is highly respected, extremely fast. How you seem so self-assured and just on it and confident, but I know that that's not always been the case. So how did you do that as the pressure mounted, being the favorite, being the one to topple? What were your strategies? Who did you lean on?
Well, I didn't do it very well in some cases. In 2016, I should have won the gold medal in the 100 meters freestyle. World record holder going in, undisputed favorite, and completely fumbled that opportunity. And it's a great lesson for everyone out there. I'll never get that opportunity again. I'll never be in that form or that far ahead of my nearest competition ever again. And I never get that moment back. And I have to live with that. And I've processed it, and, it's fine. And I'm actually happy to talk about it because failure is a really big part of success. And one of the things that I have had to do is I've had to recalibrate how we measure success. So in our sport, the measure of success is an individual Olympic gold medal. Now, I have broken world records. I've been to 4 Olympic Games. I have Olympic gold medals as part of relay teams, but I do not have an individual Olympic gold medal. Now, does that mean that I am not successful? Does that mean that I am a failure because I failed to hit that one tiny metric for success? I would argue not. I would say that I have been successful and I've done it over a really long time and I've achieved lots of different things. And so that ability to be a little bit more flexible in your way of thinking, it also, keeps you humble. It keeps you constantly wanting more. And I would say that one of the biggest things that I learned towards the back end of my career is that strengths and weaknesses, they're two sides of the same coin. So when you say, it's interesting that you said, you always seem so confident. I'm not. I question everything.
That's why I
And
asked it, because I know there's
yeah,
another side. Yeah.
and it's almost like the better I got, the more I was like, well, how did I get here? What do I like? Now I have to keep going, and now I have to keep doing this, as opposed to being like, yeah, I've done that before. I can do it again.
Mhm.
Uh, but me constantly questioning things, me criticizing myself all the time, me never being truly satisfied, no matter how good I was. And like, there were times where I was real good. Like, I had some really good meets and some really good swims. So, because I wasn't satisfied with that, it made me push myself further and continue to want to improve.
Yeah.
Now that went too far in Rio. It tipped too far to the other side, where I became a nervous, terrified wreck behind the starting blocks, where I was afraid of all the things that would happen to me if I didn't win this race. And afterwards, I berated myself so much. And I think that that's something that probably the public don't know, is that no matter how disappointed you are in your athlete, and no matter how many times you want to read a terrible headline or a news article, you never feel as bad as that athlete. It doesn't even come close.
Not even close.
And anyone who hasn't been involved in elite sport can never truly understand. It's like, and the only word that people use for it is heartbreak. And that is the only word that you can use for it. Think of the thing
Mhm.
that broke your heart the most. And that is what athletes, when they stand behind the starting block, they know that there is a risk that that will happen to them. Think about the bravery required to stand behind the starting block, knowing that heartbreak could be on the other side. So could success, but so could heartbreak.
Yeah.
So I think that after that, and I berated myself and I hated myself, and I just, it was awful. It was horrible. And it was only after I, worked with a psychologist, and she said, well, look, Cate, all of these things that you're hating yourself for, they're the reason that you were so successful and for so long. And they're the reason that you want to go back and do it again. So learn to work with your weaknesses, learn to work with them whenever I catch myself having these negative thoughts about, things I should have done, or I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. I'm like, okay, well, that's the weakness. That's the one side of the coin. Can we turn that over just so you can have a look at what your strengths are on the other side?
Mhm.
Just have a look at what they are, and remind yourself that there's not one without the other, and lean into those strengths a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, that hits, because that's the only thing I'm missing, is an individual goal. And for the longest time, like, I remember one time specifically sitting and looking at my husband and going, I wish I didn't do any of this. I wish I was an Olympian. I wish I didn't win medals. And he looked at me and he was just like, what? But in that moment, that's what you feel like. I'll throw it all out if I don't have to feel this heartbreak. But similarly, a therapist came to me and was like, yeah, but that is your superpower too, like being, so it is like this, you're on a tightrope, and it's this balancing act of the two. And to me, the people that are the not most successful, but the happiest and the most fulfilled, which usually success follows, but are the ones that figured that out. And I'm not always there, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah, and you're not always going to be there or always going to be perfect. But I would also say that there are some very unhappy Olympic individual gold medalists.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. I mean,
And probably
yes.
very unfulfilled ones as well, who would look at their medals and think, this is never enough, it's not enough. And so being able to accept that what you've done is enough because you can't go back and change it is a really important, brutally tough lesson to learn.
Brutally tough. I always say excruciatingly beautiful, because
Oh, I
it's
like
just,
that. I
yes,
like that.
yes. Do you now find that I need a name for that, like what, like that quality that has the dark side and the bright light?
Mm.
Where is that showing up for you, and where are you battling that now after sport?
Probably for me, it's deciding what to do. I've come out of sport where I've had one focus and one goal,
Mm-hmm.
and there's been quite clear measurements and metrics as to how I'm performing and achieving that. And I'm not someone who, left sport and knew that they wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, or, I didn't have that clear vision. And so I feel very uncomfortable in the unknown. I like to know exactly where I'm going. I don't have to know how I'm going to get there, but I want to know my direction. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the point now where I'm starting to figure that out, but I'm just sitting in the uncomfortable unknown so that I don't pick the wrong thing. So that I don't just leap into something because it'll make my present discomfort feel a little bit better. It's like being really good at just sitting in the mess, sitting in the discomfort, figure things out, meet people, chat to people, upskill in certain areas, and find where I can make an impact. I want to make an impact and somewhere and something that I enjoy. And I think one of the things and the best pieces of advice that I ever got around retirement was from Susie O'Neill. And she said that her love and her passion for swimming, it was like 6 burners on a barbecue. And her passion and her love lit up all those 6 burners. Like it was the thing she loved to do most in the world. And when she retired, she was looking all the time for something that would light up her 6 burners. Like, what is that thing that is going to light me up? And she just said, I never found it. But you know what I did do? I learned to switch on all the different burners through different things. I did hobbies. I spent time with my family. I focused on a career. I had children. I spent time with my friends. And she said, all my burners are lit, but they're by different things. It's not that one thing. And I thought, that is so good. That is just so excellent.
It's so good. I'm
So
stealing that. I'll
good.
give her credit, but that's yes, because you go, I mean, good for you that it took me 7 years to realize that, like to understand that you search for so long, you're like, I have to replace it, right? I have to replace it. It has to be just as bright. And I'm just going to replicate being an Olympian again. That's fine. I can do that. And it feels like you're sitting at the top of a mountain, like Mount Kilimanjaro, and you're like, it feels so daunting. So to have that be like, oh, I can have 6 things that fill me up instead of just this one like thing. Oh, what a relief. It makes me feel calm
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah. And look, I still sometimes stress that like I don't have this one thing that lights up all my burners, but that for me has been a real like aha moment. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are the things that I need to do to light up this barbecue? Like, where am I lighting my burners from? And it's okay if it's not one big thing. Some people will find it, and I love that for them. But I think that the way that I talk about, my time in swimming, like that love that I had for swimming is a once in a lifetime kind of love. And it would be so rare to find that one thing again. And some people do, but I also now see a way forward and a path forward for me if I don't find that, once in a lifetime love again the second time.
It just takes the pressure off, which
Yep.
is so nice. What did you study in school? Like, what are your hobbies outside or interests outside of the sport? What are you leaning towards?
So I just did like a very generic media and communications while I was swimming, and it was more just to like keep my brain interested. If I had my time over again, I would have studied psychology. And before I wanted to be a swimmer, or sort of the career that I'd picked before swimming picked me was either a physio or a paramedic. So sort of,
wow.
yeah, kind of something that doesn't require me just to sit in an office all day. I am not really suited to that lifestyle. And then outside of the sport, I picked up furniture restoration during lockdown. So I just because people were throwing out old furniture. So I just pick it up from the side of the street, like sand it back, repaint it. I'm not very good at it. Like I'm not good at it, but there's something so satisfying about working with your hands and seeing the change from like one day to the next to the next. And none of them are, showpieces, but they have a special place in my heart.
So are they all? Do you have them all over your house?
Yeah.
How many
so
pieces?
I furnished my house. Oh, I eventually had to stop because I ran out of furniture to like do to my house. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you just got engaged,
I did,
and that's
yeah.
so exciting. Congrats. That's
Thank
such a
you.
special time. Does he enjoy this hobby of yours?
Uh, yes. I mean, he's happy for me to go and do it, and I think
Okay.
I'm a better person when I come back and do it. So yeah, my beautiful now fiance, which still sounds weird.
Yes. It's so
Is
fun to say. You're like, it's just like fiance.
oh
Like,
yes. He's a geologist, so he comes from very far outside the world of swimming. And yes, he does rock. It's okay. We can make that joke. Uh, I'm pretty much with him for the puns. Let's be honest. Uh,
yeah.
uh, so yeah, it's been really lovely to have someone who sits outside of the world of sport. It's very grounding, and hot off the press. This is breaking news, but our family is about to grow by 4 legs. Sorry.
Oh,
I know that you were hoping it was going to be a baby, but it's a puppy.
I was like, yeah, that's still amazing. I mean, yeah, Sarah Sostrom like literally announced her pregnancy right after she got off the podcast, and Missy and I were like, oh.
So sorry, if I do a pregnancy announcement, I'll call you first. But no, this is a puppy announcement.
I mean, we currently have a fur baby, so I need details. What type of puppy? All the pictures.
So it's a little cocker spaniel. And I'm so glad you asked for pictures because
Of course.
it's my favorite topic, and I know that people feel this way about their children, and I'm sorry that I'm not there yet. But I want you to look. He's the little like pale one.
I love him. Is it a brown ear? Is it a
yeah,
brown ear?
yeah. You can't really the phone isn't. Oh, there we go.
Oh my
That's a
God!
better-
Yes. No, now it's focused. Oh,
There we
what a
go.
little sweetie pie.
Look at him. I
He's
can't.
such. What's his name?
So in discussion, but
Oh, it is. Or that. So it's that new. Like.
yeah. It's like it's not in my possession. Like it's just been born.
Oh, okay.
So currently the front runner is George.
That's cute. Like Adam Peaty's son.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. The reason that it's George is because I'm obsessed with George Russell, the F1 driver.
Okay. Okay. Love that.
And so my partner does fly in, fly out work, so he's away from home a lot. So I'm like, well, while my husband's away, I need to be able to hang out with my boyfriend. And George Russell is my boyfriend. Hence the little puppy. So
do you think that will win?
probably not. It's probably like not a good thing to be hanging out with your boyfriend while your husband's away.
Well,
but I'm going for it, and I'm putting it out there into the universe. And I do like winning, so I probably will win it. Like if I'm honest, I probably will win this fight.
I mean, it's a cute. I love like our dog is a human. Our dog's name is Allie. She's a little French bulldog, and it's a human name. And I think it's almost cuter when it is a human name because you talk to them like they're humans anyways. So it's like, why not? You know?
Yeah.
I need to hear more about. I'm obsessed with proposal stories, so I need to know more about how he proposed and how you guys met.
Yeah. So we are actually a Tinder success story. So
Amazing.
Yeah, we met a long time ago, and I think we've been together 7 years. So not a shock that he wanted to marry me. And we've just renovated a
You
house
were kind of
together.
like, okay,
Like starting, planning lives together, and we have just moved up to the coast. So it's an hour north of Brisbane, where we both used to live. So we're walking distance to the beach. And you say you're not a morning person. I am a morning person if there's a sunrise involved. So sunrise is my favorite time of day. It was our first weekend in the house after moving, which is like horrific. Moving is the worst.
Oh yeah.
And so I just said, like, let's get up, take a cup of coffee down, watch the sunrise. And so we're just sitting there and watch the sunrise. And then he just turned to me and he was like, oh, I have a question to ask you. And I was like, this is either the question or like, I'm in trouble. Like I've done something wrong.
One's awesome, one's not awesome at all.
And then he got down on one knee and pulled out the ring and had designed it all himself. It apparently was a 9-month process from when he decided that he was like, yeah, I want to propose to Cate, and then designed it all himself. And I hadn't done any input. Like he hadn't talked about rings or colors or shapes. So he was like trying to piece it together. And to be honest, I'm not the girl who had the ring picked out and the dress picked
Same.
out and everything else, you know. And it's it's so beautiful. And when I look at it, this sounds so corny, and I'm so sorry, people. It's gross. We love each other very much, and like I know that it's too much, but when I look at it, I see how he sees me. As in, it's like it's bigger and it's sparklier than I would have chosen for myself. And I love that I see how he sees me when he chose the ring. So yeah, it's gross, but I love
That's
it.
not gross. I just melted inside. That is adorable. And yeah, it is very beautiful. And yeah, I just think proposal stories are just, oh, people light up. It's joyous. Like it is just a moment. I mean, it's rare that you know in the moment, like I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, right? Sometimes moments pass us by, but like you will never forget how you felt in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's so special.
Oh yeah, and then predictably just started crying. Couldn't tell you why. You know, I'm very happy. Of course, I was going to say yes, but then just spent the rest of the morning crying whenever I had to tell people.
That's the most fun, is just telling all your friends and family, and then everyone's happy with you all over again. And it's just, yes. And are you guys, I'm not going to ask when, because I hated that right when I got engaged. Everyone was like, so when's the wedding? I'm like, can I just enjoy being a fiance? But are you someone like, I think I know the answer to this because I was the same. Like, are you going to be really involved in the planning? Or are you going to let someone else just roll with it and do it for you?
Look, I don't know. Since we got engaged, we then spent 2 days together before I left for Singapore.
That's right.
So we really we haven't seen each other, but pretty much all I want from my wedding is good mood, good music, good food, and good people. And like
love it.
The rest of it, like it doesn't really matter. I just you don't remember the rest of it. So
you're so right.
If I do it myself, it's going to be super low key because I'm not a Monica with my big wedding binder.
What a great Friends reference! Oh my god, that was just
I'm sort of like, let's just go with the flow. Keep it down to earth and true to who we are.
Yeah. My husband's list was the bride, the bar, and the DJ. That's all he cared about.
Right.
I was like, well, at least I'm on that list. So that's good.
Whew, thank goodness. What was your wedding song that you walked down the aisle to, and your first dance?
So my first dance was All Be by Edwin McCain. And then it was my brother actually sang it at the altar, which was Then by Brad Paisley. My brother's like a big singer. And it was beautiful.
That's so special.
Our 10-year wedding anniversary is actually tomorrow.
No way.
So we're really excited. We're doing like a little staycation, and he's planning some stuff. So I'm pretty pumped. So,
that's so beautiful. That's so
Thank
lovely.
you. All right. Well, let's go into our power play, which is just more rapid fire questions. Get to know you a little bit better. So the first question is, what is your favorite American mannerism?
Y'all. Hey, y'all.
Yes. And I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so we say y'all a lot.
I know. It's great.
I love that. Okay. Are you a type A or type B for everything, or are there moments where you deviate?
I sit in between. Swimming, I was type A, but otherwise I'm type B. Like it's too much stress to be up all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I'm a mix as well. Depends on what it is. Depends on what it is. What is your best way to just switch off?
Swim in the ocean. You never get out of the ocean feeling worse than when you got in.
It's so true. Yeah, I mean, you and Basil, you guys should have, Singapore doesn't have oceans, right?
No.
Okay. Aren't you, so I'm deathly afraid of sharks. Where do you fall on that?
I just don't think about it. If you think about it while you're out there, then it's bad. So you just...
But if you just...
Yeah, you just go. And the chances are very small. You've got a high chance of having a car accident. And I drive every day, so...
That's a logical way to think about it. I
Yeah.
wish I could be logical about it. Okay. What this is a scenario. So I've given multiple people this. So I think I have this in Australia. So you go up to a red light, there's one car in front of you. The light turns green. The person does not go.
Mhm.
How long do you wait before you beep? Or do you beep?
Oh, yeah, you do beep. I wish that you could have two horns, one that's just like, excuse me, go, can you
Yeah.
move forward? And one that's like, you're driving like a maniac, stop.
Yes.
So I would, and I would just do a little polite toot, and it would probably, I'd give it I don't know, 10 seconds.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
super nice.
Yeah, like maybe they're just off daydreaming, hopefully not on their phone. But yeah, I typically if I'm not in a rush, if I'm in a rush, then I'd do it soon. But it would
Yeah.
just be a little like polite, like toot.
You're not like hammering. I mean, I've
No,
got
no.
the gamut of the answers to this. So like some people are like, I'm hammering on the horn. Some people are like, I wouldn't say anything ever and I would just wait for them to go. There's been it's just like very telling of your personality by this answer. And I feel like that's what I'd expect. You're gonna be very polite and courteous, but hey, I'm helping you
I
out.
got stuff to do. We got to
Yeah.
get moving. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, last one. What is your favorite outfit choice?
Ooh. You know what? After spending so many years in activewear, I don't like activewear anymore. Like
Okay.
I only wear it to exercise. So a favorite outfit choice would be like a shirt dress. So just like something that I can throw on. It feels like you're wearing pajamas, but it looks good enough that you can wear it outside.
Yes, nailed it. I love dresses are such a cheat code for girls because it's so comfortable. But people are like, "Why are you dressed up?" I'm like, "I'm in a nightgown." So
Literally. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
That's my vibe. Maximum output, minimal effort, and maximal comfort.
Yes, love that. Okay, we're gonna go into our final 3 questions we ask all of our guests. So the first question is, what is a moment or memory outside the sport of swimming that's brought you the most amount of joy?
Outside of the sport of swimming. Um, Look, but like the proposal is quite high
Yeah.
on that list. That was really beautiful. But I think also Bronte, my sister, calling me when she got engaged as well. She got engaged overseas, and that stands out as a really beautiful moment. Yeah, and anything that involves friends and family really
Yeah.
is just it's where I want to spend all my time and energy now.
Yeah, fills your cup. All right, so same question, a moment or memory inside the sport of swimming that's brought you the most joy.
So the most joy, it was Olympic trials 2012 for the 50 meters freestyle. And Bronte and I had to come first and second in that event if we wanted to go to the Olympics together. So for those listeners who don't know, I have a sister, Bronte, who's 2 years younger than me. We swim the same events. I'm the older sister. I picked first. She should have picked something else because we then ended up competing against each other. But we also...
I don't know how you guys did it. I don't know how you did it.
So long. But we also did get to go to the Olympics together and be part of relay teams together. But for our first time competing, it was the London Olympic Games, and there was only one female spot left on that team, and that was in the 50 meters freestyle. So I'd already qualified in the 100 freestyle, but Bronte hadn't qualified. And so she had to come first or second, and she had to beat, legends like Libby Trickett to get that spot. And I touched the wall, she touched the wall, turned around, and there was a number 1 and a number 2 next to the 2 Campbell names on the board. And it is the moment of pure joy. Out of my whole career, that is the purest moment of joy because you weren't expected to do anything. And we'd been dreaming of going to the Olympics since we were 7 and 9 years old. And it came true in that moment.
Your parents must have lost their minds.
Oh, yeah. They did. They did. Yeah.
So did they just faint?
So our parents originally weren't going to be there. So we're 2 of 5 children. So there's lots of us, and we have a disabled brother who requires a lot of care. And so our parents hadn't traveled down to to the competition with us. And my dad turned up to work that morning and, it was on the news that, the two Campbell sisters had qualified for the final the following night. And his boss just looked at him and just said, Eric, what are you doing here? Get on an airplane, go. So we didn't even know that he was there until
Oh my
afterwards.
gosh.
And then, typical man, he was either going to start crying or cracking jokes. So he got a little shaky and he started to get a bit teary and then started cracking jokes.
Typical man. Like, can't show the emotion, can't show the. Wow, what a good boss. Thank goodness.
I know. So great. We need more bosses
Oh,
like that.
I agree. Oh my God, that is special. I can't even imagine with my sibling doing something that epic. I think of that with the Walsh sisters too. It's just
I know.
like such a cool thing that really 0.0000001% of the population can't understand. So
Yeah.
all right, last question. What is a word that motivates you or inspires you or just serves as a daily reminder of who you want to be?
So can I be sneaky and do two? Like
You can.
It's like a little motto. So
You
it
can.
was the last thing that I would tell myself before the gun went. And very simple. It's just be brave. Be brave. Bravery only exists in a place where you are uncomfortable and when you're afraid. And bravery acknowledges you're shaking hands and you're racing heart and your breath catching in your throat and the fact that part of you wants to scream and run away and hide under the bed and never be there again. But bravery has somehow let me lead the most extraordinary life. It honestly has been beyond my wildest dreams. 9-year-old Cate would just look at what 33-year-old Cate is doing and has gotten to achieve and people that they've met along the way and just think, no, I can't imagine that. So yeah, that's sort of the motto of how I lived my swimming career and how I want to live my life moving forwards.
That's beautiful and worth stretching the rules of the one word. That's so cool, and we all need some more bravery in our lives. So thank you so much, Cate. I know you're running off to your meeting and mentoring these young athletes, and I've taken a ton out of this conversation. I know all of our listeners will too. So really, really appreciate you making the time.